Hi, my name is Mike Brotherton. I have an allotment, UK in East Sussex. I've been informed last week of two things. One is, Dad, please wear a shirt. Being in lockdown doesn't mean you have to look scruffy. And two, this episode is my 250th. I've not been counting. And Dad, you should celebrate in some way or other. Well, how can you celebrate in lockdown? I can't have people over. You can't have a party on the allotment. And in any case, how can I celebrate when there's people like Captain Tom Moore, who's reached a 100-year-old birthday, and to achieve that, he's raised £30 million for the national health, for the NHS. Beat that if you can. So what I've done is, in support of the NHS, I've purchased a rainbow cake, and we'll share that with the family on there. And for our transatlantic cousins who may not know the connection between the rainbow and the NHS, is that it's been adopted by the UK as a symbol for supporting the NHS. And school children have been drawing rainbows and posting the picture in the window as a means of showing the family's support for the NHS. And here's just a collage I produced of some of the ones I passed on the way this week to the village post office to post a letter. Just want to say a word about Captain Tom. He's another Yorkshireman. He's from Keighley. That's Bronte country. That's where I was brought up, basically. Not in Keighley, but in Bronte country, and it was also my grandfather's regiment that he served in. And also I have an uncle, Charlie, who also served in Burma at the same time as Captain Tom in the same regiment. So well done, Captain Tom. So what have I been doing this week? Well, in the first half of the week we've had brilliant sunshine. It's been warm and sunny, and I've been out there doing as much as what I can. Rain was forecast for Wednesday, so I had to get everything done, seed sowing and the like, before we got the rains on Thursday. And boy, did the rains come. It was reported today that April has been the driest ever recorded, and we allotmenteers can vouch for that. The plot has been crying out for some rain, and for most days I've been coming to the plot either early or late in the evening to carry out watering duties. The Calabrees I sowed February-March are doing well and putting on some size. The carrots sown 3 weeks ago are now showing through, and following this succession regime of sowing, the next batch was followed. I'm a little concerned regarding this square foot garden, as it's really trespassing on an allotment ground, and I could be asked by the council to remove it. So I thought I'd put in plan B into force and prepare one of the raised beds to function in tandem, just in case. The potatoes are continuing to put on growth. Therefore, after today's watering, another top-up of compost was actioned. We had a sudden shower this morning. Didn't last long, but it was pretty heavy. I mentioned earlier that the carrots were showing through. Well, here's the evidence. I worked on the plot till the sun went down, hence the lack of light. It was my intention to complete sowing the next run of beetroot before the rain, forecast for the rest of the week, made its appearance. As I mentioned earlier, we were hit by a short, sharp shower, to which I sheltered in the polytunnel and potted on some cauliflowers, and you can hear the rain beating down on the plastic. Considering the square foot garden, I've sorted out some seeds for it, but what I have to do now is decide what I would grow. And the rule at our house at least is to grow what we buy and eat. Therefore, a big factor is how many plants can you get into a square foot. I've listed out what I estimate the numbers are, starting with the most, which is 16 per square foot, and moving down the list to those that will require the largest area, which reduces them to 1 plant per square foot, which is the largest list. Carrots must be favourite at 16 per square foot, which apart from radishes has the biggest yield. But for me, radishes are a catch crop. There is a YouTuber that says, any spare space, you must plant radishes, so I won't waste them on a square foot garden. Leeks and peas will give a good yield, and of the two, probably go for the peas at 8 plants per square foot. Garlic and kohlrabi at 4 per square foot, we would not consider them. They're not vegetables we buy, but that's just a personal choice. But lettuce, beans and swede we would consider, especially the swede, as this goes great with carrots. On the 2 per square foot we would only consider the cucumber. Sweet corn require at least 12 plants for seed to fertilise and have to be planted en bloc. Potatoes give a better yield in buckets or pots, but 1 square foot devoted to parsley fits in well with our lifestyle. Which then brings us to the largest list, the 1 plant per square foot species. And for me, it is the single plants that will give the largest return, and of those listed, it is the strawberries and the tomatoes that stand way ahead of all the others. But, as I've said before, it's all down to personal choice. The main consideration now is to decide what colour coding goes with which plant per square foot regime. And for me, these are my colours I've selected. Though the weather was warm and sunny early on, later in the week it rained. Some bright sunshine, but the rain was very heavy. On Friday we received thunderstorms, giving only one option other than seed sowing and watering, and that was shed work. A good time to construct a more durable seed and plant spacer. Well, I picked up this piece of composite. It's not really plywood, but it's composite board. But it's quite strong. The first thing you got to do is look for a machine edge, and if you're lucky, you might get 2 machine edges. And I am lucky, and that's what I've got. So what I've got to do now is do the width. Now, rather than use a rule, if you've got one of these, it makes life a lot easier. This is metric though, and we're talking about 1 foot, but we can make this square 300 by 300, which is just short of a foot. But what that does, by being slightly smaller than a 1 foot, it allows for what we call creep. So here we have the one that was made in cardboard. You can see we can put that there on that edge there, and we know that that's square. So to keep it square, and this is why I say this is the easiest way of doing it, you can see marks there. You've got that one there and that one there. So all we have to do is put a pencil mark there, and while we're at it, you can put these in at 20mm, which is roughly 3/4 of an inch, which is what we're looking for. We're not looking for rocket science engineering. So we've got that one there, and then we can do on the other machine edge, place that there, place that there, and we can repeat the process. And we are now ready to take this wood into the shed to be cut to size. We connect the lines together . And firmly cramp the wood to the bench. Why? Because we want to make a straight square cut, and this is difficult with a wobbly sliding object. We will require a sharp saw, so if you don't have one, then I can suggest you purchase one. It won't break the bank. They're between £7 or £10, and with care will do a lot more useful work, and you can buy them online. Lines now marked, and using a sharp saw, and I emphasise sharp saw, we cut the board to size. If one has not got a sharp saw, you could revert to a karate chop. Believe me, you need a sharp saw. With the board cut to size, mark it up as we did on the cardboard example, but using paint this time. Not as simple using paint rather than the reinforcing stickers and the highlighters, and it does take much longer. Do not, as I am doing here, drill without first drilling pilot holes, as the drill will wander and requires a firm grip. Realising my error, I quickly changed the bit for a much smaller one, leading to more accuracy and quality. After drilling the holes, the reinforcing stickies are removed and the colour coding is then retouched up. The size of the drilled holes should allow the insertion with free movement of a normal pencil. To give the board a modicum of protection, 3 coats of yacht varnish applied, allowing 8 hours between coats. Yacht varnish hardened off, I applied a couple of metal handles purchased from Poundland, and we are now ready to plant or sew. So, if you've enjoyed the video, thumbs up would be nice. If you've not already done so, please subscribe, and If you ring the bell, you'll get the latest update. And all that's left for me to do now is to say, take care, look after yourself with this coronavirus about, and hopefully if everything's okay, I'll see you next week. So, bye.